Chapter 14. The battle was over. I had obtained my fourth unique skill from the spirit of the demon lord Geld, although I guess it got merged into Predator without so much as a peep. Raphael gave me the rundown after the battle. Less than report. Following the merger of the unique skill Ravenous with the unique skill Predator, the unique skill Predator has evolved into the unique skill Gluttony. Greater than. If the skill is named after one of the 7 deadly sins, it must be broken. This skill, Gluttony, consisted of 4 old abilities: Predation, Stomach, Mimic, and Isolate, combined with 3 new ones: Corrode, Receive, and Provide. The new ones worked like this. Rot. Performs rot on the target, decomposing it if it is organic. Monster corpses partially absorbed in this manner will reward the user with part of the monster's skills. Receive. Gain the ability to obtain skills from monsters under your influence. Provide. Grants part of your abilities to monsters under your influence or linked to your soul. Neat. This was some pretty damn sweet stuff. Usually demon lords have skills like this. Maybe I might even end up becoming demon lord. Ha ha ha, silly me thinking those stupid stuff. There is no way lazy bum like me ever become demon lord. Less than notice. You have already acquired demon lord. So it's not impossible for you to become demon lord greater than. PFTT. Really? That's surprising. Let's hope some random hero don't decide come to slay me. The day after the demon lord Geld fell, representatives from all the races were gathered inside a temporary tent pitched in the central part of the marshes. I was here sitting on Xian's lap, with the rest of ogre mages standing behind me to represent our village. I had already informed Rigard of our victory against Orc Lord. Now all that is left is this meeting. Trainee was here to represent the immobile Treants. From the lizard men, we had the chief, the head of the chief's guard, and her assistant. Gabble was currently in a cell somewhere on charges of treason. The goblins were represented by each chief of the assorted villages. Finally, from the orcs, there was the sole surviving orc general, along with 16 chiefs from their tribal federation. The mood was understandably gloomy among them, given how they were the main catalyst of all this. There were still around 150,000 left. Hakuro would serve as mediator. I asked the lizardman's chief guard to take the position, but she refused. The role is too weighty for me, she protested. So I threw the responsibility at her, asked Hakuro to handle it, since he was practically born for it anyway. Once he declared the meeting underway, silence fell. No one dared open their mouths, instead turning right toward me. Well, I began, before we get down to business, I'd like to tell all of you what I know at this point. I discussed what I learned from Geld's memories. The reason why the orcs took up arms, and the current state of their affairs. The orc delegation looked at me wide-eyed. I guess they weren't expecting this to come up. As I continued, some began shedding tears. Perhaps they didn't think they'd have a chance to give their side at all. Perhaps they were prepared to die on the spot. I feel bad for them. After I explained everything, so, I began, I will just say things in my mind, then we will consider it together. First of all, I would like to say that I don't think Orc has committed any crimes. Orcs stared at me dumbfounded. They probably didn't expect me to let them go that easily. I'm sure, I continued before anyone could object. The lizard man who has suffered large losses, you would want to object, but please hear me out first. Quote, I continued, I have taken on all the crimes committed by the orcs. And if any of you have a problem with that, I'd like to hear it. The orcs stared at me, clearly shocked. Benimaru, I said, ignoring them, your homeland was annihilated by their hands. Do you take issue with this? I do not, my lord, and I doubt any of my fallen comrades would. The sole, immovable rule that links all monsters together is that only the strong have the right to survive. We faced up to them without fleeing, and thus we were prepared for the worst. And, Sir Rimuru, we would never have an issue with the decisions you make. The other ogres nodded in agreement. Everyone appeared to be with me. I then turned to the lizard men, but the chief spoke before I could. We, too, have no complaint with your stance. There is one thing I wish to be fully clear on. The chief stopped and looked straight at me. Are you suggesting, Sir Rimuru, that we accept the entire orc population's right to live in this forest? That question is reasonable. You might think I am out of my mind, but, I said, why don't we form an alliance between all the species living in the forest? Quote, I understand what all of you are thinking, I continued, and I understand how the thought makes you nervous. And you're right, I have no idea whether it's possible or not. But I think it is. Like I said, I just want you to hear me out. So I began talking about my idea. The vision of a great Forest of Jura alliance, a proposal that would have been dismissed as a hopeless dream at any other time. For now, I started, I would like to spread the orcs around and have them help out with the manual labor around the place. And we will repay them with food and a place to live. The chief asked. Yes, I replied, we will form a great alliance among the peoples of the Forest of Jura and build cooperative relationships with one another. It'd be pretty neat if we built a nation composed of multiple races, where all races can live in peace and harmony. Unlike before, the conference was now filled with a sense of excitement. The attendees, enthusiasm was starting to pervade the room. The orc general was slow to react. Us, building a town. It is all right for us to join in this alliance. Not like you got anyone, or any place, to return to, do you? We'll get you someplace to live, but you gotta work, all right. No room for lazy orcs around here. Quote. Yes, my lord. The orcs immediately stood up and took a knee, overcome with an emotion that drove tears to their eyes. Of course. We will dedicate our very lives to the tasks ahead. The lizard man chief nodded. We have no objection. If anything, we would love to cooperate. He kneeled as well, imitating the orcs, and the goblins hurriedly took action to follow suit. Shion stood up, placed me on a chair and then fell to one knee before me, accompanied by Benimaru and the rest. Very good, Trainee said. As a warden of the forest, I, Trainee, make the following declaration. I hereby recognize Rimuru-sama as the new leader of the Forest of Jura, and the Great Forest of Jura Alliance hereby established under his good name. Then she kneeled, too. I guess she had word from the treants that they were all for it. Can you give me a moment, guys? Why am I suddenly the dude who's supposed to run all this crap? Because I don't remember any discussions along those lines. Why'd it turn out this way? I wanted to ask, but my voice was cut off by all the passionate eyes fixated upon me. Well, so be it, I said, resigned to my fate. Do me proud, guys. Everyone took that cue to prostrate themselves before me. Yes, my lord. The sheer fervor was as clearly present in all their voices as it clearly wasn't in mine. The Great Forest of Jura Alliance was born. Quote, Mountain 696M. Mountain 697M. What am I doing, you ask? I'm in the middle of naming orcs right now. Watch out, one goblin shouted. Try not to get out of line. Rimuru-sama, Gobta called, the Lake Tribe's females are up next. Yeah, I replied, Lake 1F, Lake 2F, Lake 3F. These names are too half-assed. Well, there's not much I can do, there are a total of 150,000 of them after all, the reason I ended doing this. The day the Great Alliance of the Jura Forest established, we had to address exactly how we would feed the mouths of 150,000 starving orcs. Even if we scatter them around the forest, crops won't produce in a single day. I think, Trainee spoke, I will be of use in these matter. Oh, surprised I asked, do you have any idea? Yes, Trainee replied, the treants under my protection are also participants of the alliance, they can supply you with provisions from the forest. Quote, but, she continued, we will require some help to transport the food though. Then, Benimaru spoke. I will take command of transporting the rations, may I rely on help of the Tempest Wolves Rimuru-sama? Ranga, I called. Yes, Ranga replied, my comrades are waiting outside, please make use of them as you wish. Quote, then, Benimaru said, I'll be taking my leave, and left. The orcs under the influence of Orc Lord gained a temporary magical boost. I'm sure those effects have been gradually fading away since the Orc Lord's death. It's entirely possible for the weaker individuals may die off. To prevent that from happening, I must distribute my own magic essence, in other words, I'll have to name them. Which is the reason why I have been naming them. Rimuru-sama, Gobta called, the next group is last. How many? I asked. Around 2,000 people, Gobta replied. Got it, I said and started to prepare for another naming session. I have a request, an orc said, we are surviving members of the orc race's elite force, I would like to devote our strength to serve your needs. Got it, I replied. Since they will be serving me, I should give them different name. Yellow 389M. Yellow 390M. I know these aren't much different than others, but it's hard for me to come up with these many names. After naming all 1999 orcs, one orc left. I remember this guy, he is Aid from Geld's memories. He also came to meeting as representative. I would like you to inherit the orc disaster's will. I said, I hereby declare that you shall inherit the will of the orc disaster. You shall be called Geld from now on. Yes, sir, Geld replied. Our eyes met, his overflowed with tears, and the moment I gave the name, the orc general's body was wrapped in a yellow aura as he began to evolve. At the same time, I could feel the magic flowing out of me. Oh crap, not that much. Once more, I was back in sleep mode. Dot 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 dot. Dot 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 dot. Dot 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 dot. I was in my room, resting on Shuna's lap while hearing a report about the recent progress of town. Over 3 months had passed since I returned. All kinds of things had happened since, but I was taking a moment to reflect on all the chaos of a time gone by. The orc evolved into high orcs after receiving names, and Kaijin has been quite busy ever since. The newly appointed orc king Geld is an especially hard worker, rather he might be overworking himself. Worried, I asked him if he is properly resting. His reply, Rimuru-sama, Geld said, I have eaten my meals and slept in my cot. There is no need to for a break. Quote, a strong sense of duty not always be good thing. Just take a break, I said forcefully. Yes, I will, Geld replied. We've received all sorts of help with our formerly delayed projects. It's a rush to construct the city in one go, and in the midst of all of this, the rest of the goblin race joined us as well. I ended up naming all of them. By the time I finished naming, we were finally able to provide everyone with proper living spaces. We weren't able to provide every household with plumbing, so we installed water wells around the settlement. We are also able to create flushable toilets, which means we don't have to worry about hygiene. There are also a lot of efforts that are yet to bear fruit. We are done with initial preparations. Things were coming together. Right here, in this land, there lived over 10,000 monsters, gathered here because they believed in what I was doing, all working together to make it a better place. They saw this as a place of peace. Our place of peace. A true town of monsters. And it was finally here. Things were progressing slowly. I am in the middle of inspection. Today Ren was carrying me in her arms. Getting carried in arms kinda became my daily routine, and it has its perks. Boing, 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 boing. Ooh, this feels great. I can feel certain jiggle behind me. I have to say, this town was really starting to look nice. A lot nicer than I had thought it'd be. Thanks to planning the city out from scratch, the buildings had all been arranged in very neat order. Nice to see my efforts didn't go to waste. Though all I really did was yell at people to do my bidding. The homes were in such orderly rows, like pieces on a checkerboard, that things could get a bit tricky if you lost your bearings, but that didn't really matter, I felt. While inspecting, we entered in the dining area. Surprised, I asked, why are you guys here? Quote, oh Rimuru-sama, Gabble said. Rimuru-sama, Ren said, should I kick those guys out? Wait a moment, panicked Gabble quickly said, please hear me out first. Let's hear it then, I said. Dot 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 dot. Dot 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 dot, dot dot. To put it simply, Gabble has been disinherited, and since I saved his life, now he came to serve me, and his subordinates followed him. In addition to that, the head of the elite guard is also here, and as she put it, she is sent here by her father to gain more experience. So I gave them names. While I was giving names, Gabble was giving me puppy dog eyes. So looking at me like that, I said, you already have a splendid name, Gabble, don't. You. And suddenly my magic started draining and Gabble started shining. Wait, is this evolution? Thus I managed to inadvertently name Gabble. Gabble, I had no idea that you could, overwrite them like that. Maybe the fact his original christener was dead meant the wavelengths were aligned with me instead, or something. I couldn't know why, but either way, I named him. By the time I completed naming, Lizardman evolved into Dragonoots. I named the head of the elite guard, Soka. As I expected, Soka and her team immediately pushed themselves toward Soe. I can use them as I like. Soe confirmed with me as he watched them like a deer caught in the headlights. His voice was cold, enough to make me even more scared. But the royal guards didn't mind one bit, smitten with Soe as they were, waiting expectantly for me to give the word. Sure, I answered, go ahead. Train him however you want, Soe. As you wish, Rimuru-sama, he replied, formally agreeing to the request. A smile instantly erupted on Soka's face. I couldn't really understand why, but if they were all happy about it, I didn't mind. I also entrusted Gabble with a task, the cultivation of hippocute herbs for potions. In the cave in which Veldora was sealed. Dot 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 dot. Dot 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 dot. Dot dot dot. The Dragonutes were well situated now, and Gabble and the rest were fully used to life with their fellow townspeople. A long series of peaceful days followed. Ah, nothing like peace, I blithely thought as Xian carried me around, her breasts bouncing against me in a steady rhythm as she walked. I was just letting myself descend to ever lazier thoughts when, Sir Rimuru, we have an emergency. Several hundred winged horses are headed for the direction of town. Soe sent me a cold, to-the-point message via thought communication. Xian, it's an emergency. I'll call for Benimaru and Hakuro, so get Rieger to alert the townspeople for me. Right, she lowered me down, then briskly ran off. I ran down the situation with the ogre mages, then turned my attention to the sky, turning my magic sense all the way up. It let me detect something coming from sky a force of around 1,000. Wait, they had knights on flying horses. It had to be a well-trained force, whoever they are. Xian came back with Shuna and Ren, with Benimaru and Hakuro arriving simultaneously. Soe had somehow appeared behind me, too. Your orders, Sir Rimuru? Benimaru asked. I couldn't give him a clear answer. My orders? Well, we don't know who they are or what they want. It'd be a losing battle if we fought them, and I'd like to avoid that, but… Less than understood. The advancing force's destination is this area, beyond a doubt. They are traveling in a straight line toward here. Greater than. I didn't need the Raphael's commentary to know that lying low and hoping it'd all blow over wouldn't work too well. Well, what happens, happens. If this turns into a fight, our first priority is evacuating our residents. We'll buy the time to make that happen. You got it. And indeed, this could be an easy win once we're in the thick of it. Benimaru said confidently. I'll handle the magical support. Shuna said calmly. Heh, my longsword is seeking blood. Xian said with an evil laugh. I am only here to serve you, Rimuru-sama. Soe said coolly. They probably came to see people who defeated the Orc Lord. I doubt they try to pick a fight against over 10,000 named monsters, Ren said thoughtfully. Good to see the usual gang was in on it, then. I assigned Hakuro and Kurobe to stay on point if we had to evacuate. Now that Riegard was here, I also explained matters to him, ordering him to regroup with Geld's team outside of town if we failed to talk things out with our foes. Wait a second, I heard someone mutter in the group. Turning toward the voice, I saw Kaijin lost in thought. What is it, Kaijin? Well, if these are flying knights, I've heard rumors about a top-secret force under the direct control of the Dwarven King. Just rumors, but, I thought the Dwarven Kingdom's military was all about heavy infantry and high-powered magic corps. And you're an ex-military officer, what kind of top-secret force wouldn't you know about? Yeah, well, the rumors came from a bunch of retired old generals. I mean, yeah, we were officers, but we were still young. I couldn't really boss around people who had several centuries, more experience than I did, Kaijin explained, grimacing. According to Kaijin, this top-secret personal army of the kings, independent of the 7 official armies, was known as the Pegasus Knights. A herd of winged horses was flying above town. They took sidelong glances at us as we watched them, looping around the city airspace a few times before landing in an open field just beyond its borders. We had some open space in town, to the areas where we planned to build most of our central facilities, for one, but I suppose they didn't immediately touch down in the city out of politeness. That'd be pretty much a declaration of war, wouldn't it, if a nation did that to another? International law probably didn't apply to monsters, though, and I wasn't even sure such a thing existed in this world in the first place. No point thinking about it. More pertinently, we now had confirmation that the Dwarven King was leading the pack. That was a tad more important, as was the reassurance that he didn't want to attack us on first sight. He would have without hesitation if he saw us as foes. Leaving the evacuation efforts to Riegard, Hakuro, Kurobe, and Gobta, I headed out of town to greet them. Accompanying me was Ren, who insisted that negotiations with the outside world were in her jurisdiction. Assuming we had any room to negotiate. Obviously, Kaijin and the 3 dwarves were with me, too. The knights were lined up in neat rows in the field beyond the city. In front was one whose force of presence dominated over all of them. He was flanked by 4 bodyguards, each obviously several times stronger than the rest of the force. Counting King Gazel himself, that meant 5 incredibly powerful dwarves were before us. Well, your majesty. It has been a long time and quite an impressive showing, as well. May I ask what brings you here today? Kaijin stepped forward and took a knee before Gazel. A pleasure to see you again, Kaijin, and you as well, Slime. Do you remember me? The king was surprisingly casual with us as I sized up his approach. Are we doing away with the obnoxious formalities? I blithely wondered as I felt something dark and ominous from behind. In a flash, Benimaru's smile vanished and he had a steady hand on his sword, apparently not a fan of the king calling me just Slime. Soe, on the other hand, kept it supremely cool. The faint smile on his face told us all how he felt. He was pissed. He normally had no expression at all, but get him mad, and he'd smile back at you. A dangerous man to trifle with, and it was pretty funny how the only way to make Soe smile was to basically bait him into killing you. Meanwhile, the aura I felt from Shuna and Xian was nothing to sniff at, either. They were showing the opposite of restraint, actively exuding danger with every fiber of their being. And lastly Ren, she was smiling but her eyes weren't, she gazed intently. Eyes narrowed, and the aura I felt from her. I didn't know she could use Conqueror's Haki. I can also feel Raphael getting angry. This was ugly. They still respected my orders enough to stick to them, I supposed, but if anything else happened, they'd be liable to blow their top at any moment. I needed to get this squared away before they went beyond my control. Well, let me introduce myself first. My name is Rimuru. You're right that I'm a slime, but I'd prefer if you didn't call me that. I mean, I'm kind of the leader of the Great Forest of Jura Alliance, so you could say things have changed a bit since last time. I took this moment to turn into my human shape. This isn't exactly who I really am, but it's probably easier for you to talk to. I grinned, waiting for his reaction. It transformed. A magic born, and such a high-level one. I sense magical force but no casting of magic itself. A skill-based status transformation, I would say. I sense no sudden burst of magicals, so it is likely as it said simply a change of appearance, not of nature. But this could change its method of battle. At the least, being able to wield equipment like our own could boost its own offensive and defensive powers. Sounds like trouble. I haven't seen a rare variant like this in quite a while. And the monsters behind it are rather strange in themselves. Said an old woman among them. Those, I can identify. They are ogre mages, a race just as rare as orc lords. They are. That's the evolved form of an ogre, is it not? Should we not dispatch them before they grow too strong to handle? You think it'd go that smoothly? 4 of them bear horns. We would have to prepare for a bitter fight. Not to mention that human, I can't sense any magical force from her. That's unusual. Every living creature excludes some amount of magical force, but she isn't excluding any. I don't understand any magical something, but her stance is good. I can't find any openings. Quote, I hate to sound timid, but yes. Best not underestimate them. Silence. The king suddenly bellowed, never taking his eyes off me. Enough of this racket. This slime and I are speaking right now. Excuse me, Rimuru, I will evaluate him for myself, and I would appreciate it if all of you held your tongues in the meantime. It was a pure show of force, and it stunned them all into silence. Yeah, sorry if I scared you all. I just transformed because I thought this'd be more natural for you. Just like that lady said, this is the work of my skill, universal shapeshift. A form of mimicry, is all. So you don't have to freak out about it. I will be the judge of that. I would hardly believe the words of someone unless I was reasonably sure they were a friend, or foe. Well, I ventured, you can doubt me all you want, but we can't really sustain a conversation that way, can we? No need to worry. Words are not what I need to judge your character. Instead, I will use my sword to divine your true nature. If you insist on such ribald boasting, calling yourself the leader of this forest, it may be about time to show you your place. If that sword of yours isn't mere decoration, I ask you to accept my request. With that, he handed the halberd he carried in his hands to an attending knight on his side. My katana-style sword must have set off his battle lust or something. Why, your majesty, surely. What faster way to settle this than with a man-to-man duel? The king laughed, ferocious. I accept the request, and I'll make you regret calling me a boaster, I said, looking King Gazel in the eye. To be continued.